Hello friends, welcome back to another lesson in whole numbers, and let's just get started right away. And here we have Lego. Everyone loves Lego, right? Well, especially Jenny, and she has 2 classic Lego sets. Well, how many pieces does she have? I'd like you to use any strategy you'd like, pictures, numbers, or words to show your work. Okay, let's have a little situation here. One jigsaw puzzle has 357 pieces. Another has 275 pieces. How many pieces are there altogether? We're going to add 357 plus 275, and we're going to look at a few strategies, or a couple strategies to start off with. Well, first we can add specific digits. And what I can do here is I can rewrite 257 plus 275. Now this might seem familiar, however, we're going to look at specific digits. We're only going to add, let's say, the hundreds digits. Now, what does this 3 represent? We've talked about this. That 3 actually represents 300, and this 2 actually represents 200, and that equals 500. Well, let's move to the tens column. That 5 actually is a 50, and that 7 is actually a 70. Well, 5 plus 7 is 12, and they're both 10s, so that is 120 tens altogether, or 12 tens altogether. And then lastly, we're left with, we've used these numbers already, 5 plus 7, or actually 7 plus 5 this time, and that's 12. Well, now I can add all these 3 up, and I have 0 plus 0 plus 0 is 2, 0 plus 2 plus 1 is 3, and 5 plus 1 is 6, so there is 632 puzzle pieces altogether. That's one strategy. Another strategy here is to use base 10 blocks, and I have 357 and again 275. And so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to make sense of this. Now I have, how many here? I had 7. And I have 5 here. Well, if I was to take, well, I need 1, 2, 3 more. If I was to take these 3 and move them up there, I would have 10. And a 10 actually would move this over. So maybe I'm going to draw an extra rod here, just to remind myself. Okay, well, I need 10 rods to make 100. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I can take all of this and make a new 100, and to remind myself, I'll just draw a square. Okay, and then I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 hundreds. I was left with 3 tens, and I was left with 2 ones, 632. Now, this is not an easy method to do in your notebook, but if you are a visual learner, maybe you want to draw this out and just make these marks, and you can do it that way. Okay, another situation here. Scott Suko is a world-famous domino toppler. On his website, there are photos of his setups. One of Scott's setups had 1,976 dominoes, and another setup had 2,868 dominoes. How many dominoes were there altogether? Well, here's another strategy here, and this might be familiar. So from the right to the left, and so this is your kind of your good old-fashioned method. So we start with the ones column, and we have 6 plus 8. 6 plus 8, I need to know this is 14. I write down the 1, and we're going to regroup 110. Now I have 1 plus 7 plus 6. Well, 1 plus 7 is 8, plus 6, we just did that, is another 14. So I'm going to regroup. Now I have 1 plus 9 is 10, plus 8 is 18. I'm going to put the ones to regroup again. And then I have 1 plus 1 is 2, and plus another 2 is 4. So there is 4,844 dominoes altogether. And then our last method here is using columns. And so we're going to put, this is the ones, this is the tens, this is the hundreds, and this is the thousands. Okay, and so I'm going to write 1976, and I'm actually adding 2,868. And draw a line across. Piece out these individual columns. Well, 6 plus 8 is 14, 7 plus 6 is 13, 9 plus 8 is 17, and 1 plus 2 is 3. Draw another line across. Well, I'm going to deal with this hundreds column. Well, I have this 1, so 1 plus 3 is 4. I'm going to leave that 7 there. I still have my 13, I still have my 14. Okay, well now I'm going to deal with this tens column. Well, this 1 actually becomes an 8. So 4, that's because we're adding it. 4, 8, I have a 3 left over, and I have a 14 still there. And now I can deal with my ones column. I have that 1 which I'm going to add to this column, so I've left with 4. This becomes a 4, 8, 4. It is kind of a different method, but if you are an organized person, this might be the way to go for you, because you're only writing numbers like such where you don't have to regroup into the next column. Alright, using a method of your choice, I just showed you 4 different methods. A very famous bakery sold 2,628 cupcakes on Saturday, 1,952 on Sunday. How many cupcakes did they sell altogether? Hit that pause button, figure it out, and come back and see if you were right. Okay, because we have 4 different ways, I'm going to show you what I got here. So, using the good old-fashioned method. I don't know if there's a name. I guess we'll call it the regrouping method. 2 plus 8, we start in the ones column, is 10. I put the 0, regroup the 1. 1 plus 5 is 6, plus 2 is 8. Don't need to regroup. 9 plus 6 is 15. I'm going to put the 5 down for the ones, regroup that. So 1 plus 1 plus 2 is 4. So they sold 4,580 cupcakes. Well, that's that method. Well, I could do the similar method where I was just dealing from left to right and remembering what each column represents. So let's start with the thousands here. This is a 1,000 plus a 2,000, that is 3,000. And this is the hundreds column. That's a 900 plus a 600. Well, 9 plus 6 is 15, and there was 2 zeros there. Okay. This is the tens column, so 50 plus 20 is 70. And then here we have 2 plus 8, which is 10. And I can add all these together. 0, 8, 5, 4. 4,580 cupcakes. Alright, we also talked about the base 10 blocks. So if I quickly drew this out, I had 2,000. I'll just do that quickly. 600. 28. And they'll use a different color here. I had 1,900. And 52. Okay. Well, I'm going to. Well, I have 8 here plus the 2. Well, actually, all of this will make into a rod. So now I count my rods. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I don't need to regroup. So I have. So this became a 0. This is an 8. Let's go to the hundreds here. I have 6 in the red, and I have 9 in the green, and so I only need 4. I guess I can do that. 4 to make another 1,000. Okay, and so I'm left with 5 over, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. 4,580. And then the last method we looked at was making those columns. So this was the ones, the tens, the hundreds, and the thousands. And so 2, 6, 2, 8, plus 1, 9, 5, 2. And so this was a 10, this is a 7, this is a 15, this is a 3. And so we're going to deal with this 15 here, and so this 1 is going to move over, so that becomes a 4. and I'm left with a 5, and then I have a 7, and then a 10. I don't need to deal with the 10's column, but I do need to deal with the 1's column, so this one is going to move over and become an 8. That leaves a 0. And again, we have 4,580. So there's 4 different ways we can add 3 or 4 digit numbers. Hopefully you found one that you really like, and I recommend you stick to it. I showed you all 4 just because I do want you to understand that there is more options than just that plain old fashion method that your teacher or maybe your parents have showed you before, because we all learn differently and I want you to see different ways to add. So remember guys, in life, math happens. Take care.